Greetings all. Hope you're enjoying your day wherever you are. I'm just starting out. Not just really. I was awake, but not getting out of the house when I should, when the sun is actually lower in the sky. But there are cool breezes blowing, so the warm sunshine is okay. I can still walk. Uh-oh, the monkeys. There he is. Walking around the tree, looking for whatever he can find. The whole troop only looking for what they can find, antagonizing the humans. It's good and bad. I like watching the animals, but when they're stripping the trees of every fruit that I want to eat, it's kind of frustrating. But they want to eat too. They also have to eat. We share everything, or we share nothing. There's some views on this island that absolutely enthralls me. I mean, when I see this is one of them. When I stand here or walk down this hill, what we call a hill in Barbados, looking out on the ocean, how the ocean meets the sky, and it seems like to blend into one. This morning, you can't see where the two come together, because you got this cool air coming from behind me, and the warm air from Africa coming across the ocean there that we are looking at. And that moisture is like a cloud. Not only the more warm air and the moisture, but the dust, the Sahara dust. The people in West Africa suffer from this every year. I never went out without a mask, and I always warn people, do not come without a mask. This time of the year, but that view and this view I can see from the window. My dad's house. That view. I mean, the whole mountain is just beautiful. Looking down the valleys all the way to the ocean. And I look at this serene setting, more often, say 99% of the time, my mind will be thinking about the people somewhere else in the world who have this setting, but due to war, poverty, and other created elements, other elements that were deliberately made to frustrate their lives, they cannot enjoy it. Cannot enjoy it. And the thing is that most of this is caused by those people who call themselves the chosen. Chosen by whom? The most destructive force outside of the earth and the universe. Well, among men, the most destructive heart among men. And they want to convince us that we will come to their place, the place they claim to be theirs, to learn from them. Imagine that. What do you want to learn from? Their ships are the ones that brought us into the Caribbean and South America. Their plantations are the ones that we worked on. Their plantations. Brazil is coffee. Sugarcane. Barbados, same thing. It used to be coffee growing here too. The biggest crop was sugarcane, but it used to be coffee, cotton. All throughout the Caribbean and the Americas. I want you to believe that the Americas are populated by the British. They show you British names. But when you trace those British names, guess who was standing in the back of that name? The other day I saw this article. It's saying that the conservative Christian MAGA people are now agitating for DNA tests for them to prove who they are. And it's getting them upset. The same people didn't pay attention when Charlie Kirk was killed. And it's for the same reason. He was beginning to question. And that DNA it's funny that they brought up the subject and got all the DNA testing to find who among the planets had the real DNA. And then they reached out across the planet and pretend that they were bringing them back to Israel. And they were trying to save them from the rest of the world, but they wasn't trying to save them from the rest of the world. They don't have the DNA, so they have to. Good morning. They don't have the DNA. In order to get it, they have to mix with the people who have the DNA. Do you hear what I'm telling you? And they didn't do it. This is not the first time that they did it. If you read back in history, you see that in 1100s, that's what they did. In the 1400s, that's what they did. If you look at the inbreeding in the British Isles and Europe, you'll see that it was beginning to affect the population, just like it is now. The DNA is dying. It's not dying because of, it's dying because of the inbreeding, and it's weak. So they have to bring, not, they brought the African in, but they bring in the people who are next door to the Africans, so that when you interbreed, it's easier to get keep the British, the color of the European, but get the DNA from these people. There's a lot more to this story than is. It's not only about them wanting to rule the whole world, it's about keeping, lying to you got to prove who you are eventually. And the only way you can prove it is by, well, there's another, when you dig into DNA, you'll see. You have to study what DNA really is. And DNA is not the foundation. Right. It's like the tree is not. You need the seeds. And then when you get the seed, when you take the seed apart, how it's made, what it's made of. Because you can put a piece of mango into an avocado tree and completely confuse some person who's looking at it, because avocado tree is growing mangoes. Tell you things today that, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be speaking on these things, but we gotta know who we're dealing with. I know who you're dealing with. And there are others who know who we're dealing with. And we all were trained for a time when you would have to learn and know. There'll be a time, it said, when that was hidden shall be known. You return, they teach you to interpret it as knowledge. People will begin to learn knowledge that was never learned before. No, it wasn't. This knowledge was available from the beginning of foundation of the earth. It was always available. But you see, we've gone through a number of wars. They have tried to destroy what was built many times. I told you about that corporation. From the beginning of time, and whenever somebody dies from that corporation, they bring in somebody else. The board of directors bring in somebody else. All right. Whenever somebody else on the board of directors die, they're bringing somebody else. You see it today in corporations that are run. Corporation is not new. You people who would say they're Africans, born African, but the African doesn't know, doesn't look at certain things. You just take it for granted. It's just there. That's our culture. But if you see the African culture, you see it's built on a family tree system. That one person, the king dies, his king, the chief, whatever they call him, in whatever village and social structure that they have around Africa, wherever it's the north, south, east, west, central. Somebody from that family becomes the king. And they always have a structure in place to fill that leadership role. So it's built on an African system. The whole social structure we have now. People don't look at it that way, but that's the way it is. When you begin to investigate it, that's what you're going to find. All of it, down to slavery. That slave for life, and then your family, after you take up your position as a slave, came from Africa. And there's certain places in Africa today that still practice. Not only the Africans practice it, but the Muslims pick it up. Why do you think they enslaved Africans? Why do you think the Indians, the one that had light colored skin, don't like black Africans? And the poor Indian is so confused that it's keeping him from assuming his place in the world. It is he who should have been here before the Chinese. But since he's following the European, his system is built around the European model. It's not thriving. Yes, the Indians, you see, educated people. Some of them have a lot of money, but guess what? If you look at India, the poverty, the level of poverty is so bad, and they refuse to get rid of it. You know? That's another view that I have been looking all the way to Bridgetown. But and they are keeping or trying to hold the Chinese back. They the leadership of India, the one with the light skin, the blonde with the black skin too, they think that they're they think that they're Caucasian. I've even heard it so many times. And one from Guyana whose skin complexion is like that right there. And out of the blue, one day he just said to me, you know, I'm an Indian, I'm from the Caribbean, but I'm sorry. He told me my name. He said, I couldn't let my daughter marry, or son or daughter, marry your son or daughter. I looked at him and smiled. He thought he was telling me something new. No, he's not telling me anything new. I know him from the beginning, from the last war. Well, he was one of the instigators from the last war. And he is one of the instigators in this war now. The funny thing is that his ancestors came out of Africa. But because the European came in to India, he now thinks that he is European. Poor fellow, blacker than me. In skin tone now. Anyway. Good morning.
You? What you forget now? What you forget? Alright, well, when I ran down there, I took my purse on my bag.
Kids preparing to go to school in the morning. Ugh. Those were the days. Those were the days. Yeah, monkeys, he's still there. Wow, right in front of me. Anyway, that's the situation we're in. India is being courted to fight a war. African leaders being courted to fight a war. African leaders hoping that the system will return to the old system, where they can sell other Africans and they stay there and their families reap the benefits of those paper dollars. Everywhere across Africa. Encouraging the European to come to Africa. Come. You see, all these young people we have in Africa. Africa has the youngest population on the planet. Come and create your businesses here. Why? You can use those young people to make money. Don't have to sell you across the ocean anymore. They can put you in the mines to dig holes for pennies a day. Thousands of young African men, women, children hold holes in the ground, getting paid the equivalent of $1 a day, while the people who get the materials, commodities that they bring out of the ground, make trillions of dollars off of it. Some go to Israel directly, some going Israel, and then from Israel it goes to Geneva, Belgium, France, and Britain. Every one of them getting a cut. And the African leaders, the governors, the kings, and chiefs, they get their 50 cents. As long as they get their 50 cents, they don't care how their people suffer. That's what the war that you see being planned and executed is about. That's the whole story. One man who thinks, tell the world that he's chosen to rule forever, and that the rest of the world is supposed to come to Jerusalem to learn from him. But when you look at his footsteps through history, look at the work of his hands today, what would you call it? In the court of The Hague, they call it genocide. And they don't want to charge all of them who were involved, because they're afraid that the world would see how many are involved, and they want to make it appear that only a few are involved. See? They want to make it appear only a few. Pay attention, people. People who you want to leave wherever you are and go to Africa, I'm not saying don't go, but you see what you face when you get there. You will see Islam all over Africa. But guess who runs Islam? Whatever these people do to the people who say they're Muslims, they still sign what they call the Abraham Accords. They're joining in, giving credentials to these activities that the people are doing. Saying we accept it. Weak. Anyway, wherever you go, I've seen a lot of black people preaching about their beliefs. It's like Christianity, you know. A lot of them facing and don't even know what they're talking about. You ask them, The Israelites that who are the two nations that created you? It says you were born from the seed of Abraham. Who was Abraham? And if you're born from Jacob, his sons, who are the two nations that was built on? You see, there's a lot about your Bible you don't know. Just like the Arabs, a lot about their book that they don't know. And they're not interested in knowing, because to know it means to question it. And then if you question it, harsh punishment they're afraid of. They're afraid of not getting the praise, you know. Nevertheless, be present wherever you are. This war is not going to be one where it's divided. It's going to be the one beside you won't know is your enemy until he raises up his sword to kill you. Beware. Peace.